Hello everyone, I'm very happy to welcome you to a little demonstration of Matrox's latest product. My name is Katrin Kerber. I'm a Territory Account Manager for Matrox Video, and I'm showing you here our brand new Maevex MGX, launched beginning of June, so it's really kind of a Polish world premiere. First, I would like to explain the connectivity and what the product actually does. It is an AV over IP solution, so Maevex as a brand is the Matrox-based H.264, H.265 family, where we are doing AV over IP with the help of these very common and known codecs H.264 and H.265. My connectivity here is I have a source PC, I'm collecting the HDMI into an encoder, and in the encoder I have also connected a little preview monitor, and then from here I'm going with the screen cable in my little Netgear network switch. You see it's a regular IT switch, so nothing really special. I'm going to the decoder of the MGX, and then I have a display connected to the decoder as well. And maybe already now you get an idea how low latency the reality, our pass-through from the encoder to the decoder is, despite the video taking two hubs, like coming here into this encoder, being processed into a network stream, and then put back on the decoder. So, and that is one of the revolutionary elements of the MGX, because Matrox developed a so-called IQ mode that gives you a very low latency for your video transmission over IP in 4K 60 444 color space, so highest quality as you can imagine. And we can actually present this over a standard 1 gigabit network, because we only need a very low bandwidth as it is known for the H.264 and H.265 codecs. So in order to show you how this low latency works, I would like to bring in my interface. So the Matrox MGX, Maevex MGX, has device web pages. So it's a web interface where you see that I currently have a dashboard that introduces the product for you. We are collecting 4K 60 signals, 2 channels, as you have seen when I showed the hardware. And then in the processing, you actually see that I'm collecting the HDMI input 1 from the encoder, and I'm putting it in an ultra low latency IQ mode IP stream. So and that is what you're seeing on the decoder display right now. If I go and edit this process, you actually see how simply you can configure your AV over IP network. So you have your 2 HDMI inputs, then you basically create the process. Yeah, and I'm adding a process here in the interface, so you see now it's empty. Then I'm dragging an input here, yeah, and then I'm actually adding an output to this process. And I think this is the most interesting part now, speaking about Maevex also as a high-density multi-processing encoder. You see that you have a wide variety of streams that you can actually produce simultaneously. So we have the very common and known RTSP, MPEG-2 transport stream, SRT if you would like to do secure, reliable transport streaming to the internet. So that is what has existed in Maevex for many years actually. However, now you also see our way into the open standards with IPMX as a native support, and then this revolutionary part of the MGX, the Matrox IQ mode, which gives you ultra low latency in the transmission. So I leave it with that, as I have my processes. I basically close this window here and I take this new process out, and I see here my IQ mode. So I have here an explanation of what I'm doing, what kind of video resolution I'm using, what audio resolution I'm using, and here you have another revolutionary thing towards the MGX, because we also have support for USB. So I have enabled a keyboard and mouse, let's put it that way. And then if I just say apply now again or say cancel, I'm running that process and I'm showing you with my mouse now how the low latency actually is of this display. So I'm double clicking here, you see I'm moving the mouse and it's very, very low latency, so that you can think of it like a simplified KVM extension as well. So, and thanks to the IQ mode, we are getting the latency in a high compression scenario under a frame or close to a frame, which is really the revolutionary part when you compare it to generic AV over IP solutions right now that use light compression. So we're getting close to that latency with much less bandwidth, which brings me back to this very simple network switch here that I can use actually to do my AV over IP solution. Besides the encoder, of course, I have a decoder menu as well. Of course, my decoder interface also gives me some numbers, so I can also edit here. The setting up is basically the same. You have the available protocols, and here I'm coming back to Matrox initiative, always be friendly with your environment. So for example, the RTSP stream could come from a video surveillance camera together with another stream that comes from an encoder when you use the processing, the compositing possibilities. But here you see also the other streams that you can make part of your process even simultaneously, and then output them to different displays because you have basically two connections. And as mentioned, we support up to 4K 6444 with this H.264 and H.265 implementation. So I have been showing you the Matrox Maevex MGX before, and now I would like to go into potential use cases for the product. Besides of being an AV over IP distribution unit where you can distribute your signal in the network between different encoders, decoders, we of course are always talking about an ecosystem. So for example, if you think about the control room, there's a video wall potentially where you already would like to show your operator information on that wall, and for example would like to remove the PC from the control room itself for ergonomic reasons. Matrox has a product called DVW. It stands for Distributed Video Wall. And this one, this little appliance here can actually connect up to 4x 4K displays from one appliance. So this is very high performance. Usually video wall controllers are there to collect different inputs and signals. So our DVW does that on an IP level. So we are using H.264 and H.265 technology here to collect the streams from the network. And now you can guess, as my Maevex MGX is also producing H.264 and H.265 streams, they are the perfect supplier into my video wall. And currently I have connected this little DVW to this room display, which also lets me explain the second possibility of using this device as a very flexible AV over IP endpoint, as a decoder. And for that, I would like again to show you a little bit and guide you through the interface of the DVW, which you see on my laptop. So first you realize through my network connection, I'm connecting to the DVW IP address, yeah, and then I'm opening up MuraControl for web. So here I already have a kind of free of charge user interface that helps me actually to configure what my DVW does. So it comes up, for example, with two layouts that I have prepared here. So currently I'm running a full clip video, but I can easily change to another layout, which is now showing the two IP streams that my Maevex MGX is producing, besides having the decoder maybe at the operator desk and then have the stream also on the video wall in a very simplistic way using networking technologies. What if you want to change something? You don't need to pay a programmer. you just double click into the layout, and here's a lot of additional information how flexible and how performant this DVW actually is. So currently in my interface again, you see that I have a preview, I have my canvas here. So I'm collecting currently 2 streams. But in terms of sources, and this is what actually puts DVW outstanding a little bit compared to most of AV over IP devices, is that I have choice of sources. I can not only connect to a family encoder in that sense. I can actually collect an IP source, for example, from a network camera, from an IP camera. I can select web sources. Very often network operation centers work with browser-based or dashboards, yeah, so I can bring those in and create different presets, layouts with that. And I can also create simplified overlays, for example, with an image if I want to assign a logo to a dedicated source. Yeah. So, and here you see I have a couple of web pages already in there, but I'm not connected to the internet, so they would not work. But the idea is you simply drag and drop them into your canvas, yeah, and then you have them actively running. Inside the canvas, you see that I can actually rescale, I can reshape, I can send them back, for example, if I want to create a different viewing perspective, yeah, and I can even do a high quality preview in my interface. And very important for web sources, you see that I even have the possibility of a kind of a software keyboard and mouse into the web sources if I need to change the URL, if I want to browse, etc., etc. So this is the capacity of the DVW in a very flexible way, being a multi-display video wall product, because you can also use multiple appliances to build larger walls, or you can use just one device in your meeting room with 2 displays connected, where you can show these interactive and nice personalized layouts in a simple way, just created with using a free of charge browser interface. So we think this is a nice addition. And last but not least, we will actually add IPMX support to this distributed video wall product too, so that we, when it comes down to Maevex MGX, we also give you a high compressed ecosystem thanks to IPMX open standards with all the benefits it brings. So, I hope this demonstration was interesting to you. As a recap, I presented the new Matrox Maevex MGX product line with the encoder, the decoder, and its capacity to stream to a video wall solution with the DVW, or distributed video wall, out of Matrox. Together with the free of charge web interfaces. And last but not least, of course, we have APIs as well if you want to do integration. So enjoy using our products, look at them a little bit closer. They are very capable.